Oh, oh God. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Gapesty here. This is the normal DPS guide for the Fallen Protectors. As usual, if you'd like more information, the full raid guide, or any other specific role guides, click on the annotations. With that, let's do it. So the fight will actually end when all three protectors are brought to 1 hit point simultaneously within the same 15-second window. Now, the problem is you cannot just cleave them all at the same time. If you bring any of them to 66 or 33% health respectively, they'll enter a secondary phase called Desperate Measures, which basically causes the main protector to despawn and a series of adds to appear in their place that must be dealt with before the protector comes back and can be attacked again. So, as a DPS, you'll generally be assigned or focused on one boss at a time. Once you push them to the Desperate Measure phase that they're coming up to, you'll deal with the Desperate Measure adds, and then once those are done with, you move on to the next boss in the rotation, push them to Desperate Measures, and repeat this over and over. Once you've done 6 Desperate Measure phases, 2 for each boss, then you'll want to get all of the mobs to around 10% or so. Once they're all at 10%, you can safely blow your DPS cooldowns and burn them all down simultaneously in that 15-second window. So for positioning for ranged DPS, you can stand pretty much anywhere in the room for the most part, kind of loosely spread in the center and be pretty safe. For your melee, you're going to have to be a little more careful. Specifically, you don't want to stand in front of Rook Stonetoe because he has a cone cleave attack that will hit you if he's attacking the tank at the same time. And you do not want to stand right on top of He Softfoot the Rogue either. As a melee, he will drop a poison cloud on the tank, and if you're standing too close, you might get ticks of this as well. The other thing to be careful of for all DPS is when Rook Stonetoe uses Clash, he will stun a random player and start doing a spinning crane kick attack. So if you see him spinning around, just simply sidestep out of it really quick. He'll also throw a keg at you at random time. Again, sidestep out of this, or it'll take some damage and be slowed somewhat. Most importantly is the Desperate Measure phases for each of these, so we'll talk about those briefly. So when any of these bosses reaches a Desperate Measures phase, they'll despawn and a series of adds will appear. Generally speaking, you as a DPS should focus on these adds immediately. Depending on the Desperate Measure that is active, you may need a different priority for your adds. So for Rook Stonetoe's Desperate Measures, you'll get 3 different adds that'll spawn. You'll want to focus on the Embodied Sorrow first, as that's the most dangerous. And then from there, if you're ranged, you can attack the Misery, or melee can attack the Embodied Gloom. For the Embodied Sorrow, make sure you watch for its Inferno Strike attack, and try to be stacked up near other players, because this will split a huge amount of damage among anyone within 8 yards. For He Softfoot, this is the most dangerous of the Desperate Measures. He will mark a random raid member, and if you are marked, you will have an extra action button that allows you to pass the mark to another player. However, you don't want to do it right away. Instead, keep the mark for a few seconds, and the embodiment, in this case Anguish, will attack you directly. You'll gain a stacking Shadow Weakness debuff pretty rapidly that increases the damage you take, so use any personal damage reduction cooldowns while you're being attacked. Once you reach 4 or 5 stacks, pass the mark using your extra action button to any non-tank player that has not received it already. This should occur and keep going until the DPS kill the embodied Anguish, so focus your damage on that target. And then finally, when Sun Tenderheart enters Desperate Measures, there'll be a large AE that you can see on the screen here. So make sure all DPS are standing in this protective bubble in the center. This will reduce the damage from the area of effect by about 35%, and then you can just DPS the small or large adds. Ranged DPS should attack the large ones outside the bubble, while melee can attack the small ones because their damage is copied to the large ones, so it's safe to do so. And that's it. From there, your basic strategy should be just to focus one of the bosses into Desperate Measures, deal with the Desperate Measures as I mentioned before, and then repeat the process on the next boss and the next one after that. So your raid will probably have an overall strategy for how that's going to be done. Once you get them all low, burn them down simultaneously, and you win. So that's the normal DPS guide for Fallen Protectors. Good luck, and thanks for watching.